So Ziegler just posted another marathon update, and it's not some massive patch or anything, but I do think it's kind of interesting. Sponsored Survival is moving from Night March to Perimeter for week 2. That's basically the whole update. But the part that caught my attention is that this isn't just like a quick one-day playlist swap. It sounds like this version's going to be around for a couple of weeks, so to me it feels like Bungie's actually testing something new. Sponsored Survival, if you haven't really touched it, is basically the low-risk queue right now. You get to load in with the white sponsored gear, you're not risking your own kit, mostly just running contracts, picking up USEC certs, looting, learning the map, and trying to make it to the final extract. Rooks can still show up, so it's not fully PvE, but if we're being honest, it's basically PvE. And that's kind of where I'm split on it. I love the PvP in Marathon, I love the risk, I love when a run actually matters because someone brought in a real kit and I get to take it home. To me, that's like the whole reason extraction shooters work. I feel like if there's no danger, no pressure, and no chance of getting punished, then extracting doesn't really hit the same. I feel like I've only, to be honest, in my time in the queue, I've seen like 5 rooks out of the 5 days playing the queue. But at the same time, I'm not going to pretend like I don't like farming. I can get that sometimes. You don't want to be locked in for every single run like it's a tournament, or sometimes you just want to loot. Sometimes you just want to do contracts, stack the stash a little bit, especially since I noticed they've given us a lot more vault space with Season 2. So realistically, I can kind of see both sides of this. The sweats are probably going to be worried about it, and honestly, some of those worries are kind of fair. If too many people are in the safer queue, normal lobbies might feel less alive. And if the loot's too good, people are going to ask why they should even risk their real gear in normal runs when they can just chill in the sponsored survival and farm safer. I mean, Bungie just nerfed the prestige drop rate for loot not even a day ago. And if Bungie pushes way too far in that direction, Marathon could lose a lot of the edge that makes it interesting in the first place. If you think about it, extraction shooters, Marathon without risk isn't really like Marathon anymore, it's just Destiny. The tension is like the whole point. Final extract matters because you might not make it. Loot matters because you might lose it. PvP matters because the other player isn't just an obstacle, like a bot that you can headshot twice with your hand cannon and forget about. Players are like a legitimate threat, and sometimes they're carrying the exact thing you literally need for your run. So yeah, I don't want this game to turn into like a safe stash simulator. But I also don't think the answer is every queue has to be full sweat all the time, because the game's already hard to get into. If you're new, not just to Marathon, but extraction shooters in general, you're loading into a map you don't know, contracts you barely understand, and sure, they might tell you where to go, but still, loot you don't know the value of necessarily. Sure, there's a monetary value on them, but you don't know the true value, like contextual value for where you can use things in the game. AI is shooting at you, players rotating through random angles, and then some dude with a full kit, purple armor, swings you like it's ranked Apex and flies you back to the menu. Getting caught out by that type of shit can be funny once you're used to the game, but for a casual player or someone who's just trying to see if Marathon's even for them, like test it out, realistically it's probably enough to make them uninstall. And I think Bungie knows that too. Especially with Destiny 2 kind of feeling like it's the end of an era, or at least not being the same guaranteed forever game it used to be. Bungie probably needs Marathon to pull in more than just the Tarkov-brained FPS crowd. At the end of the day, they need some Destiny players, they need casual FPS players, they need people who like the world, they need people who like the gunplay and the vibe, but aren't solely focused on like getting farmed in an extraction shooter yet. And I think that's low-key where Sponsored Survival starts to like shine. Not like a replacement queue for Marathon, but more of like an on-ramp. It can be more of a place where people can get like reps with the game, where they can like learn the contracts and all the systems, figure out how movement works, learn what extracting feels like, and like get used to the pacing without immediately getting smoked by the lobby. And with Bungie already saying they're going to experiment with the PvE queue later, this map change feels like part of the same thing. Like they're slowly testing how far they can push Marathon outside of the normal PvP extraction setup. What I want to know is how safe can a mode be before it like really stops feeling like Marathon? Like how much loot can you really give out before the economy gets completely cooked? Sure, we don't have a flea market or like player trading, but still, 2 days into the wipe and because of the queue, tons of people are seeing golds and purples. It's, you know, and like, are casuals going to use this kind of queue as like a stepping stone into normal queues? Or are they just going to stay in the safer mode forever? And for sweats, does it actually hurt the game if casuals have their own lane to play in? I mean, sure, there's ranked, but casuals don't go into ranked. That's all the stuff that I'm curious about. Night March made sense for the first version of Sponsored Survival because it was new and it was dark and it had like a creepy vibe. It kind of felt basically like, here's the new map, try it in the less stressful mode, even though it was scarier. But Perimeter's way easier to read. It's It's 10 times brighter, the rotations are 10 times easier to understand, and it feels more like normal Marathon, but like at a much smaller scale. But I think if Bungie's trying to see whether this mode can actually teach people the game, Perimeter's probably a better test. Realistically, they probably should have started with this map first. Night March is cool and all, but it's definitely kind of its own special thing, it feels like. Perimeter feels more like the map where you'd send someone if you actually wanted them to learn how the game works and how systems work within the game. And I'm kind of curious how people that like to play Rook are going to feel about it too, because the loot on Perimeter is not that good, and if the queues are too empty, it just becomes like a full PvE loot run. Which, to be fair, some people would probably love, but seeing as the whole point is to make it to the final extract, there should at least be like enough Rooks showing up to make you paranoid per lobby at that final extract. I shouldn't be queuing in as a solo with crew fill on and have my 2 teammates just standing in the exfil zone only to die to the new USEC rocket drone because they feel too safe from players that they're willing to die to PvE. That's probably like the best version of this mode in my opinion. Like a queue where casuals can learn the game, people can warm up, sweats can farm a little when they don't feel like sweating every raid. It's still like risky enough that extraction means something. I don't want Marathon to lose its edge. I don't want every mode to turn into safe stash farming, but I also don't think every queue needs to feel like you're dropping into a scrim with like your rent money on the line. Realistically, there's room for something in the middle. And that's why this update, at least in my opinion, is worth paying attention to. On the surface, it's just sponsored survival moving to Perimeter, but with the mode sticking around a lot longer and with the PvE experiment coming later, it feels like Bungie's trying to figure out how many different lanes Marathon can actually have. Can it keep sweats happy with real risk and PvP? Can it give casuals a way to learn without getting deleted every 5 minutes? Can it give loot farmers something to grind without making progression feel free? And at the end of the day, can it do all of that without splitting the queues too hard? That's what really matters. But yeah, I don't think this is a crazy update or anything, but I do think it's a good sign that Bungie's testing out more than just weapon balance and loot numbers. Feels like a sign they're testing what Marathon is allowed to be. And personally, as someone who loves PvP, but also loves farming, I think the game probably needs kind of a bridge mode. As long as normal extraction still stays the main thing, and as long as the safer modes don't become the best way to progress, either way, we'll see how Perimeter feels. But for now, I'm actually kind of interested to see where this queue goes.